That we recognize the gentleman from Michigan, Mr. Walberg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Mr. Williams, Haldeman, and DeMarco for being here. I heard you state that you appreciated us inviting you. Thanks for your your use of words there. I couldn't have said that myself. However, this is a duty we have to do. Mr. DeMarco, the $12.79 million in bonus pay for 10 executives that we're discussing today, bonuses that you approved, was for providing, and I quote, liquidity, stability, and affordability to the housing market. And my bankers, lenders, financial institutions back at home desire that and would agree with that and would want that to continue. But in light of that, what benchmarks are Fannie and Freddie meeting that would allow such bonuses to kick in, especially in light of the taxpayer losses of approximately $170 billion?
So this is detailed in the annual securities filings of the two companies, but as I've reported in my written statement, these losses that the taxpayers are absorbing are a result of business decisions made pre-conservatorship and mortgages that were originated pre-conservatorship. And one of the focal points for the executive compensation for the executives at Fannie and Freddie are their efforts to try to minimize losses on that book of business. They can't undo mortgages that are made, but what they can do is that they can take aggressive actions to mitigate those losses through loan modifications and other foreclosure prevention activities. And I report monthly to the House Financial Services Committee and the Senate Banking Committee on the efforts that have been undertaken to that end, and the array of things in which they are assessed and go to efforts to minimize losses, undertake homeowner assistance, ensure that there is ongoing liquidity in the market, and to be working with us on things such as the servicing improvements that I talked about in my exchange with Mr. Cummings.
But in light of all that continues on, in light of what Mr. Cummings mentioned also about his people, likewise in my State of Michigan, you've stated your opposition. You stated your opposition yesterday to putting these executives on par with the Federal pay scale, a position that you continue to suggest today in comments, I believe, a legislative proposal that was passed out of the House Financial Services yesterday to do just that. Why do you oppose that? More aggressively, why do you oppose that, and do you believe Federal agencies cannot perform their duties because they don't offer Wall Street-sized paychecks?
I oppose it simply for the matter that I believe enacting that and immediately putting all the employees of Fannie and Freddie on a completely different pay scale is going to result in the taxpayer losses to Fannie and Freddie going up, not down. That's it put simply. The Chairman read the excerpt from the HERA legislation regarding conservatorship, an important aspect of that. And what he read excuse me, is that I'm preserving and conserving the assets of a business entity. I mean, these remain business entities, and they remain regulated entities. They are not government agencies. If the Congress of the United States wants to take action to make them government agencies, make the employees government employees, that is a different story and legal structure than the one that I am being held responsible for overseeing today. What I'm being responsible for overseeing today, the way the law works today, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac employees are not government employees. These are not government agencies. They remain private corporations undertaking trillions of dollars of business participating in the marketplace. They continue to be subject not just to FHFA regulation, they continue to be subject to other laws and regulations that apply to similar private financial institutions,
I understand all of that, Mr.
Securities and Exchange Commission rules and so forth.
I understand all of that. Our citizens don't. We're tough times, and sometimes very difficult decisions have to be made, and if indeed there's public service, like you indicated, that you want to provide a service, and I think the two gentlemen seated next to you have indicated the same thing. There are challenges we face. Mr. Haldeman, in October you announced that you would be stepping down from your position once a successor has been named.
That's correct.
Did compensation play any role in this decision?
No, it did not.
Mr. Williams, Earlier this year, you stated that you would leave it to the FHFA to determine what your appropriate compensation would be. If Mr. DeMarco changed course and decided that your compensation should be curtailed, would you be fine with that?
Congressman, I would evaluate my own personal options, but that would be the decision of the Board and Director DeMarco.
I thank the gentleman